Welcome, everybody, to another edition of The Table Spot. My name is Metal Mike, and I'm joined here, as always, with the man with the best beer in the business. He is my co-host here every Monday night for The Table Spot, and he's the host of The Boom every Wednesday night. Mr. Cam G. Cam, how you doing on this wonderful Monday night?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. Pretty chill Monday night, I just finished Wonder Man on Disney Plus. It's pretty good. I recommend it for anybody who's into like Marvel hero things and things like that. I think it's one of the best or one of the better things that Marvel has done in recent memory. So definitely check that out. It's definitely a good watch. So only eight episodes, so it's pretty short. You can binge that literally in one day. So but no, pretty good. Monday Night Raw was okay tonight, I guess, kind of subpar, I suppose. And then of course we're coming fresh off of the Royal Rumble. So yeah, man, I'm here. I'm ready to talk some professional wrestling. This is the first show we've done in like 3 weeks. So
it's been a month. It's been dude, we are 4 days shy of a month. The last time we did the table spot was January 6th.
Yeah.
It's been almost a month, man. What's up, Jax? How you doing? Thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah, I mean, number one, I mean, life happens and things happen and just needed to, do what we needed to take care of. And now we're back on Monday night. We're here, table spot. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as show recommendations, that's awesome. I'll have to check that out because I'm very new to the Marvel universe. I'm probably like 4 years I've been into it now. Got COVID back in the beginning of 2022 and the month of January, the whole month of January, I suffered from the virus. And I watched all the Marvel movies that I could in that period of time, got into it. And so that's definitely something I'll have to check out. I just finished Bel Air on Peacock. I just finished that. And I'll say this, the last season, it was hard to start. It was a slow start. It felt different than the first 3 seasons, I want to say. But it was pretty good. They ended it pretty well. So I think they're done with it now, the way it seems, but who knows? Some of these TV shows, they make it seem like they're done and then they keep going. So, but yeah, man, Monday Night Raw tonight out in the city of brotherly love. Speaking of Bel Air, Will Smith, Philly, that's where Raw was tonight, man. Good segue. Good segue into it, man. The Raw after the Royal Rumble that happened out in Saudi Arabia this past weekend. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Don't worry. We will talk Royal Rumble. But first, we got to talk Raw and Philly. And Cam, I always ask you this at the top of the show, and I got to continue doing it. What would you give Monday Night Raw tonight?
I'm going to say a D+.
Okay.
It really dragged. I'm gonna say, this felt like a really long Monday Night Raw, especially one particular match. I think before we got to the main event segment, that I thought just went on and on and on and kick out after kick out, and it's like, okay, let's end this already. It's 10 o'clock. Like let's move this along here. There's really not a whole lot happening in this match. So, a very quiet, very safe. Monday Night Raw. Not a whole lot happened outside of hearing from the Rumble winners from Liv Morgan and Roman Reigns. Other than that, really not a whole lot of excitement to this Monday night.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I think tonight was a pretty safe Raw. Especially coming off a Saturday. We talked about this. On the road to the Royal Rumble, even though we weren't here the past 3 Monday nights, we still discussed wrestling and everything on our own time. And we talked about this, that there was not very much big buildup to the Royal Rumble this year. Like, it was weird.
Yep.
And then you get to Saturday, and it's like, okay, it's a 2 o'clock start time, which is normal. It's a Saudi show. They're going to start early. We know that. But even Saturday, for 4 matches, it took them 4.5 hours. And I was kind of boggled because my first ESPN show was Survivor Series. That was the first show I watched on ESPN with you. And it was like 2 hours and 40 minutes, maybe max 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are they taking so long to get 4 matches? And I get it. The Rumble matches an hour each. So that's 2 hours right there.
Yeah.
But then you got a world title match that went that could have went 20 minutes. You had the AJ Styles Gunther match that respectively, because of the situation, gets like 30 minutes of its own. So that's what, 2 hours, 55 minutes, let's say 3 hours max. And they drug that along so much. And then after that, a fireworks show at the end, which, we'll talk about. I got my opinions on that. I do. I got my opinions on that. But I got to settle with you on this one. I think tonight's a D plus, fair score, and I got to go with that as well. Let's kick it off with talking about the Royal Rumble winner from the Men's Royal Rumble, which I'm sure everybody at this moment is talking about, and that is Roman Reigns coming out and, number one, talking about his full circle moment and moments in Philadelphia. Last time he won the Royal Rumble was in Philly. Not a great response when he won. And then the next night on Raw, because there was a big snowstorm where they went, I believe they were in Connecticut the next night. There was a big snowstorm, and they had to do like just backstage segment stuff. There was no matches or anything because they didn't want people to travel. But Roman Reigns, winning the Rumble in Philly, going on to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31 for the World Championship. And now he's back in Philly after winning his second Royal Rumble in Saudi. Plus, last time he, fought in a championship match in Philadelphia was WrestleMania 40 against Cody, lost the belt. He won one of his championships in Philadelphia. He has a lot of history in the city of brotherly love. And he comes out, talks about that stuff, and gets interrupted by CM Punk. And they went down memory lane. They went as far back as the debut of the Shield, and CM Punk saying, like, hey, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be here because, I brought the Shield in. You followed in my footsteps. You kept this place going because you learned from me. And fast forward back to the end of Roman Reigns's, rant. He pretty much said, I'm not picking you, because of anything else but the fact that I hate you. And that's that. So we got our WrestleMania main event. He picked CM Punk tonight. That was pretty clear. So, Cam, your thoughts on this whole segment, and how do you feel about CM Punk, Roman Reigns for the World's Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania?
First of all, yes, Tommy, it happened. Roman Reigns is back. Yes, we know.
Yes.
Secondly, as you said, like I said, a lot of history here in Philadelphia. Not being so popular the first time around. Winning the Rumble this year, and then coming back to that same city, and instead getting a completely different response. So a lot of history there in Philadelphia. So full circle moment for him for sure. I would say I definitely like the history that they went with here. Just going back as far back as the Shield and things of that nature. I mean, even with who really picked up the ball and ran with it, whether it be Roman Reigns after CM Punk left, or whether it be CM Punk that was even the one that paved the way, who was the original, I guess, torch holder, I guess you could say, in this particular instance, before Roman Reigns had his comeuppance, or before he had he was put that rocket, as we always talk about, strapped to his back and was taken to the moon and back again. So yeah, I liked it back and forth. Very entertaining segment. I mean, I even me and my brother were texting back and forth during the course of Monday Night Raw, and we were talking and said, yeah, this segment probably saved Monday Night Raw, because again, nothing too eventful necessarily happened tonight. So definitely the best thing I think happened on Monday Night Raw. How I feel about CM Punk and Roman Reigns, I believe Triple H had said it, and he said it best, where he was afraid to pull the trigger on Roman and Cody 3. Based off of fan fatigue, which I can agree with. I mean, unless you're going to provide us with something that we have not seen with Roman and Cody, I mean, yeah, could you still do Roman and Cody sometime down the line at maybe a different event, a Survivor Series, a SummerSlam, possibly. But I think running this back again, you got to think this all started at 39. We're on the fast track to 42 now. So I think it's time to just move on and give us something a little bit different. So I'm all for it. Like I said, it keeps him away from the WWE Championship, which I don't think he has anything else left to do. Roman and Drew doesn't sound bad, no. But again, I feel like if Roman were to beat Drew, then we're probably on the fast track back to Roman and Cody again. So I like it. I like where they're going with it right now. And not only that, but I think CM Punk once again can get the best of Roman Reigns. Number one, I think this is the best version we got of CM Punk. This is the real CM Punk we saw in this segment tonight. What I mean by that is, I think since he's come back, he's definitely had a leash on him. He has definitely been watered down, and I think because if you look at the segments he was having in promos he was having in AEW, he definitely had no training wheels. He definitely had no filter, and he was just saying whatever and anything that came to his mind. Yeah. Whereas in WWE, they told him, okay, you're gonna have to work with us and pump the brakes on all that kind of stuff. Tonight felt different. Tonight felt more like the stuff he was saying felt less scripted or less as if they're putting barriers up of what he can and cannot say, and more so this came from the heart. This came from how he actually feels. So this felt more like CM Punk, a more of a CM Punk segment than any other CM Punk segment he's done in a while. And he got the best of Roman in this, I think, because he got him out of that cool, calm, collected swagger that we normally see with Roman Reigns that's attached to the whole tribal chief character.
Yeah.
He got angry, he got flustered, he got upset, and he's like he's almost ignoring the belt now. He only picked CM Punk for the mere fact that he just hates his guts. So I think we're in for a really good build towards WrestleMania and the WrestleMania main event.
Real quick, Jax, 11/22/63. It is a great show. I watched it when it debuted back in, I believe it was like 2016. It is a great, great show. I recommend it to people too. James Franco did a great job in that show. I said to you while we were watching Raw that what happened to Roman telling Cody, like, hey, you're keeping my belt warm. That happened about, let's say, about a year ago, maybe about a year ago. It happened that they said that he said that to him because they tagged up in a couple times, I know, but the first time that they tagged up, he was telling Cody, like, hey, you're keeping my belt warm. Now we fast forward to now, Cody ain't got the belt. Drew has it.
Yep.
And I said to you off air, I said, they do have time to flip it back to Cody. And you said you hope not. It's true. There could be crowd fatigue as far as us getting Roman and Cody 3. Do I still think it's going to happen somewhere down the road? I do. I feel like it's going to. I feel like I know you really can't say that you feel like it has to happen, but I kind of want to say it at the same time. I think it does have to happen because they're 1-1 at WrestleMania. If it's going to happen, yes, it can happen at another event. You're not wrong on that. But me personally, as a fan, I look at it, their 2 matches happened at Mania. I feel like they have to do it at Mania to kind of split it. Does it have to happen this year? No. And it's not going to now that we got Roman committed to CM Punk. WrestleMania 43, maybe. We're not going to think that far ahead. But I do feel like it's got to happen. But CM Punk, Roman Reigns, they really lit a match tonight and threw it onto the gasoline. They did. They lit that on fire tonight, and they hit the ground running. And I agree with you. Everything came from the heart. This promo did not feel like anybody said, hey, we want you to say this while he says this. No, these guys came out firing on all cylinders, and they knew what they wanted to say, and nobody was going to tell them what they were going to say. Nobody. So this was by far the best moment of the night as well. This was best moment of the night. So good to see WWE putting over young talent like Roman Reigns. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, Roman's he's what, 30, he's what, 37, 38 years old, somewhere around
40s
there.
now, I think.
Oh, yeah, he is. He's a little older than me. I forgot that. He is. He's like 40. Yeah, he's 40 or 41. Yeah. He's slightly older than I am. But I think this is going to be a fun road, fun thing to witness. Even though we got these 2 in a triple threat last year, it's now for a championship. And I know CM Punk, he wanted that WrestleMania main event. But as a CM Punk fan, it's like, yeah, it's the main event, but where's the championship? Like, the last time CM Punk was considered to be in a WrestleMania main event for a championship, he was like 5th on the card or 6th on the card.
Yeah.
And they still considered it the main event. No, this is going to be the last match probably of the weekend.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be a bad move if they don't make it the last match of the weekend? Like Sunday night, last match going to the ring. If it's not CM Punk Roman Reigns, do you think that would be wrong?
Well, this is all about draw power, and and that's why I think Roman Reigns won this match or won the Royal Rumble in general. They're going back with who draws the most. You know, and I can look at what what Will just said, and yeah, normally I would be sitting up here, probably turning red in the face that they're once again going back to Roman Reigns. Now, I can on one side of the coin sit here and go, they're going back to just playing it safe, and going back to their tried and true Roman Reigns versus taking a chance or taking a risk on some talent that they've undermined, or some talent that have been clawing and scratching to get to the main event scene in a world championship, like a LA Knight or something like that. They're going back to Roman Reigns. Why? Because he's their solid guy that's their draw, their drawing power. So naturally, with them, because make no mistake about it, Raw is still their A show on Netflix. If they start to struggle viewership wise, of course, that's probably where this idea light bulb went off in their head and said, okay, we have Roman win in Saudi. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it makes sense. So in saying all that, yeah, it would make absolutely no sense if this like opens night 2. That makes no sense at all. You're going to end with the pyro going off, and hey, whether Roman wins the championship or if CM Punk retains the championship, the pyro is going to go off. You either send the fans home happy. I'm sure a portion of the fans are going to be happy. A portion of the fans are going to be mad. You can't make everybody happy. Everybody's going to have their opinion on what happens in the booking decisions. That's natural. Yeah. But in general, you want that final shot to end the entire weekend, Saturday and Sunday, on this match, because Roman is in it. So it would just be weird if they didn't end it that way.
Do you think it's a makeup for what happened at the end of last year's WrestleMania with Cody and Cena? Because
absolutely.
remember that last shot last year with Cena holding up the belt, going off the air. We know the way the match went wasn't as good, and they tried to make up for that. Well, they kind of made up for it at SummerSlam, but like now it's like making up for it at WrestleMania, the place where it naturally happened. So you think this is like a makeup for what happened last year in Vegas?
That's a really good question, because I wasn't even thinking about that. But yeah, let's not lose focus of what happened last year. Everyone was saying that was the worst WrestleMania main event probably of all time. Yeah. They obviously are going to build this up as much as humanly possible with Roman and Punk.
Yeah.
And then have a banger to just get that taste out of everyone's mouth of what happened at Mania in the same place last year. So yeah, I definitely think so. They're setting this up so it can be picture perfect. So yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's a good question.
I just hope they don't fuck it up by adding a moniker to it, like, oh, no holds barred or street fight or anything like that.
Please no.
Just leave it World Heavyweight Championship, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. Just leave it at that.
I think they're going to add some sort of tagline to it. I don't know what, but I just hope it's not like. See, that's the thing that we're not in that regime anymore, where it's like, I don't know, they add some corny tagline to it where it's like the biggest match of all time, and
Roman versus Brock.
They try to make it bigger than what it is, and it's like it doesn't need that. We get that it's big. You don't need to try to make it bigger by adding some comic book Stan Lee-esque tagline to it. No,
thwap.
Like
no, this ain't Brock Roman, and this ain't the Vinnie Mac era. I think that's the thing is fans are, there's a lot of fans who aren't happy with what Triple H is doing. There's fans that are okay with what Triple H is doing. There's fans that are happy with what Triple H is doing. But all in all, when you look at what he's ultimately doing, some things, of course, some things are going to be bad. Some things are going to be good. It's pro wrestling. That's just how things are.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's all about whether, you at least have people that enjoyed it. As long as you have people that are happy, then great. There's always going to be somebody that has something to say and upset about it and all that stuff. But I think that's going to be their focus, is looking at what they did last year and with what happened last year with the main event. I think that's going to be a focus. I think this build, they're going to have a lot of focus on this build. And I would not be surprised for the next, when's WrestleMania? April. It's in April, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
I believe
April like 13th or something like that.
I'll look it up.
No, that's a Monday. It would be, I think it's the 18th, maybe 18th, 19th.
April 18th, 19th. Okay, so they got 2.5 months to build this thing up. 8, 10, maybe 13 weeks to build this thing up. I would not be surprised for the next 13 weeks that Raw, that is our main focus. Like, yeah, we had Liv Morgan, and we'll talk about Liv Morgan in a minute. Liv Morgan, who won the Royal Rumble. And they're going to focus on her. They got to. Especially with her history with the Royal Rumble, being runner-up, I believe, 2 or 3 times already, and missing a chance to win. She finally does it. But this is going to be their focus, to make sure that the last thing that people see inside that stadium is what they're happy with. Whether it's Punk, whether it's Roman, walking out and they get a good match. And you can't forget about the people at home, the people that put down the $30 a month to pay to watch on ESPN. Yeah. Like, you got to kind of keep those people happy too.
Yeah.
So, well, the road to WrestleMania has begun, and we have our main event already. CM Punk, Roman Reigns, World Heavyweight Championship. I'm actually really excited to see how they do this. I am. These next couple weeks, next couple months should be good. Should be. Let's talk about Liv Morgan, though. Liv Morgan came out. She was introduced by returning Dominic Mysterio, talking about she won the Royal Rumble. She really didn't have a big speech. She said that, she has a decision to make. She might go over to SmackDown and kind of scout some things out, as well. As we know, Jade Cargill is the world champion over there. We have Stephanie Vacquier, who's the champion on Raw. So she's got a decision to make. She didn't make it tonight. She introduced Raquel, where then Raquel came out for her match against Stephanie Vacquier. Stephanie Vacquier retaining the Women's World Championship in a Philadelphia street fight. Now, Cam, here's the thing, is I get it. We're an ECW town. I get it. Philadelphia is the town where ECW lived and everything. But it seems like every time they're in Philly, we have to have a street fight. And it's like, why? Why do we need to do this every time we're in Philly? I get it. You want to, pay respects to the ECW brand, because the ECW brand was only 8 blocks, the other direction of that arena. But we don't need to do this all the time. We don't. We don't need to see a street fight every time they're in Philly. My opinion, we don't. Yeah. Stephanie retained after Liv and Roxanne tried to help Raquel win. So, I mean, Cam, we were talking about this situation too with Liv Morgan and the Judgment Day. Liv Morgan, she eliminated Raquel in the Royal Rumble. They touched base on that as well. But Liv very quickly snubbed that away and said, look, you're getting a title match tonight. Go win it. Go do it. And then I can go win a championship and we can bring all the titles to the Judgment Day. Raquel failed even with the help. So your thoughts on Liv Morgan, Raquel, the Judgment Day situation, and if you have thoughts on the I know you have thoughts on the match. I don't even have to say if you have thoughts. I know you have thoughts. Your thoughts on the women's world title match tonight.
Well, first, with Liv coming out and returning Dominic Mysterio, it's weird because I was literally just looking up when Dom's coming back from his injury or whatever. Then boom, saying I look up and he comes out. So yeah, he's definitely back. So we have the Intercontinental Championship back on the roster. So I'm curious to see who's next. Who's the next opponent for him to defend the championship against? And then yeah, in terms of Liv pretty much kept it short and sweet. She didn't really say a whole lot in terms of who she's picking. I think they dragged that out a little bit for a good couple of weeks or whatever. I know she's going over to SmackDown. She's probably not going to make a decision there either. I don't see her picking Jade. That just doesn't make any sense to me. More than likely, she stays on Raw and picks whoever at the time is going to be the Women's World Champion, whether it be Stephanie McMahon or somebody else, if somebody beats her before we get to Mania. And then in terms of the match itself, well, first of all, when Raquel came out, like I said, they touched base on that of Liv kind of eliminating her from the Rumble. Personally, I think that whole that the tension there, I think, starts to get greater, especially even after this match, as she got involved and she told her not to. So yeah, I definitely can see them breaking up probably before Mania, I would say. So who knows? We'll definitely have to see there. We have to see what happens there. And then in terms of the match just dragged. I mean, it kept going and it kept getting worse, like move by move. I mean, I guess kudos to I don't know, whoever booked this match or whatever, because I mean, they created the moment, I guess, or the opportunity to once again showcase Raquel and make her look strong in the match, I suppose, because she controlled like 80% of this match. So I mean, good on them. But I mean, I'm sure people in attendance and I'm sure people watching this match probably knew she was not winning the Women's World Championship.
Yeah.
So, and this is at least the second or third time we've done Raquel and Stephanie McMahon at this point. So I would not mind if this is the last time we see them two, at least for a while, because it's just not going anywhere. It's almost turning into freaking Drew and Cody for the women at this point. It's a very lopsided feud and a very lopsided defense for Stephanie McMahon. Yeah, I said I don't understand, and I'm with you. I don't get the point. We get it. We get it. You're in basically the heart of ECW. Okay, we understand that in Philly. We get it. You don't constantly need some sort of stipulation where it's a street fight or it's a Donnybrook match or it's a tables match or it's a ladder match. We get it. We get it. Okay, we're not in that era anymore where they are going to have like full-on bloodbaths on a regular basis. So we're in that era now where it's the E and the C, as you said, is extremely careful. Extremely careful with these stipulation matches. So, and nobody wants to see that. That's just boring. I mean, the crowd got so bored they literally started an Eagles chant in the midst of the match. That's how bored they were watching this.
Yeah.
What is the point? Breaking out probably 12 chairs, broke out one table that didn't break, by the way, which I'm not shocked about. All that just to have the same result and have Stephanie retain.
Yeah.
Why? Huh? This could have been a dark match for all I care. Like we need to see this.
When Liv came out, it was like, okay, Liv's probably going to cost Raquel this match, which would have made sense because of the confrontation before the match started. But then you see Roxanne come out, and it's like, okay, Roxanne's coming out. We know how Raquel and Roxanne was in Liv's absence. So maybe Roxanne is going to be the one to kind of save the day. And she couldn't get the job done.
She got put through a table.
Yeah. Like, you know, and if you're wondering, yes, I said to Cam off air while we were watching this match, I said they always have to do Philadelphia street fights in ECW because Philadelphia is ECW country or ECW town, whatever. But the E, instead of it being extreme, means extremely, and the C doesn't stand for championship. It's careful, extremely careful wrestling in a Philadelphia street fight for the Women's World Championship on Monday Night Raw. And that's what it was. They played it completely safe in this match, which here's the thing is they always have that thing of being safe in the ring and taking care of each other and all that stuff. I get that. But this match, it could have been so much better. They could have, especially with the way this rivalry has been going. And it's their third match. Like all you did was insert some weapons, some tables and chairs, and a single trash can, and a single trash can. That's all you inserted. You couldn't pump it. I mean, the last like 2 minutes of the match was where they got the height of people like starting to get on their feet, but throughout the whole match, that arena was quiet. Like you said, the Eagles chants that were going around. And the funny part is the first Eagles chant that happened, the crowd knew it wasn't that good, so they had to try it again, and it got better. And I said to you before Raw went on the air tonight, I said, I didn't realize Raw was in Philly tonight. And normally I would say, man, maybe I'll think about going. I'm not in the position to be going to any shows right now. I'm not. I'm kind of glad that I didn't even consider this if I would have knew about it. Like, seriously, I am. And it's not just because of that match either. It's because of the rest of the show that we need to talk about. So, I mean, Raquel, is there... See, I said to you that, and I said this to John as well, I said that I have a feeling that we're going to get Raquel and Liv. Like, Raquel wins the belt before Mania, and then Liv Morgan challenges her. And we still have Elimination Chamber. We still have Chamber. And they can always have Stephanie defend the belt inside the Chamber. Against who? Who knows? But they can always have that. And we're going to start they're going to start doing qualifying matches next week on Raw for the Chamber matches. So maybe Stephanie defends it in the Chamber. Maybe that's where Raquel wins and starts this whole, because if you're going to start a feud between Liv Morgan and Raquel, with Liv winning the Royal Rumble and Raquel not having the championship, what would make sense of that even happening right now while Liv is trying to go for a championship? Unless they put it in the position of Raquel costing Liv at WrestleMania against whoever she challenges. Unless they do that. But the only sensible thing that I think makes sense is Raquel wins the belt, Liv challenges, and Raquel would probably end up being the babyface in the matter. So Raquel walks out of WrestleMania, still champ. That happens. Who knows? This is kind of intriguing to see what happens. It's kind of. I don't know if they really got off. Did they really get off on the right foot tonight with it?
Like I said, they're definitely teasing it. They could have went a little bit further with it, because it was just like touched on. It wasn't they didn't really push the matter too far. But again, like I said, I think after tonight it gets worse. I think, and I think that should still be a focal point with them too. Now, like I said, a feud right off the bat doesn't necessarily need to happen. I think after whatever happens next week, they probably smooth things over for now. Mm-hmm. I think with qualifying matches coming up, which I believe is next week as well, Raquel gets another opportunity. She qualifies for the Chamber. During the course of the Chamber, again, Liv comes out again for whatever reason, tries to help Raquel win, ends up inadvertently getting her eliminated. Then it really gets red hot, and she's just like, okay, now I'm tired of Liv consistently getting involved in the matches that I don't want her in. See what I'm saying? And you could have her involve herself in Liv's match. I think initially she helps Liv, and then we see like a big turn. She just like clotheslines Liv. She doesn't cost her the match. I think Liv's winning at Mania. I think that's the smarter option to go with. But I think she ends up clotheslining Liv or giving her a Tejana bomb or whatever. But initially she ends up kicking out or whatever. But that's the big turn. She walks away. She storms off out away from the match or whatever. But initially Liv ends up winning the championship at Mania. Then going into the summer, I think that's the feud going into the summer, having Raquel chase Liv for the title. So
okay. I mean, it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like they're really afraid to let go of the Judgment Day. Like, it seems like they're just hanging on to this group.
And I don't know why, because they have such potential with these members involved that can do so much more.
Well, because we had Finn Balor, who had that pretty decent vignette tonight. He had two, as a matter of fact, I believe. I believe we got 2 Finn Balor vignettes tonight.
I think we did. Yeah, we did.
Yeah. And then you have Liv, Dom, and Raquel doing their thing. Roxanne's kind of in that mix. And it's like now there's a little bit of heat within those with Finn Balor kind of off doing his own thing. JD McDonough is he injured again? Is he out? Like, where the hell is JD?
No idea where JD McDonough is. I forgot all about him, to be completely honest.
It's like they're afraid to like let go of the Judgment Day. They're trying to milk this for as long as they can. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I loved the Judgment Day run. I did, but now it's starting to kind of get to that point of like, let it go.
It's run its course. Yeah,
it kind of has. It was a good idea. And even after they got Damian and Rhea out of there and they continued on their path with the group that we had for the past year and a half, like it was good. But now it's at the point like you got Finn Balor off doing his own thing. You got Raquel trying to build her own thing with her own, big sexy thing, and Liv and Dom pretty much doing their thing. Like Roxanne's kind of out in the middle of nowhere and JD's nowhere to be found. It's like, just let it go. Just let it go. Like, seriously. So, we'll have to see. Man, Cam, a lot of points in this show tonight that's been very hard. Let's talk about the vision from tonight. We got the show kicked off by Braun Breaker at ringside, destroying anything in his path. And then Adam Pearce pretty much came out and was taunting him. Braun Breaker not happy because he drew number 2. He thought he was given the number 2 position, but he drew number 2. And him and Paul Heyman are accusing Adam Pearce, number 1, for the masked man, attacking whoever the masked man is, and screwing Braun Breaker at the Royal Rumble. And Adam Pearce came out and said, you're the one that had the poor performance. You got attacked. Like, you drew number 2. And he said that, if you want to keep your job, then, stop doing what you're doing. Stop all this bullshit, basically. Because he said he was lucky that he's keeping his job after his poor performance at the Rumble. LA Knight then attacked the Vision when Braun Breaker went into the aisleway to confront Adam Pearce. And then backstage, Paul Heyman went to go demand a match between LA Knight and Braun Breaker. And Pearce told LA Knight to leave the arena. And Pearce told Paul Heyman to get Braun Breaker out as well. So Paul Heyman did. He got Braun Breaker out of the arena. Well, then Penta took on Bronson Reed. And LA Knight just so happened didn't leave the arena. He came out and he hit Bronson Reed on the outside with his finishing move on a chair and helping Penta win by countout. So that is what happened with the Vision tonight. Your thoughts on everything that's going on with the Vision right now? If you have anything to say about anything that happened with them tonight and the match between Penta and Bronson Reed.
First of all, I don't really like this maxed mystery man again. We just did that with Austin Theory. So I feel like it's a bit too soon to do that yet again. Unless it's a massive reveal. It can't be, oh, it's somebody from NXT and that's how we're gonna bring them up. No, it's gotta be somebody blockbuster when they reveal whoever it is. I believe. A couple of theories going on right now. I don't think there's any major theories going right now in terms of the community of who this could be. We got no maxed person tonight. Braun Breaker, as you said, he's on a tear. Obviously, livid about getting eliminated the way he did. Yeah. In the Rumble. I don't know what the plan is for Braun Breaker right now, because that was very shocking. That was shocking to start the Rumble off that way. I didn't think he was winning the Rumble, but I mean, I thought he'd go a lot further than that for sure. Yeah. Going now to me, the focus, I think, these past couple of weeks and past couple of months has really been the tension really building up with Braun and the general manager, Adam Pearce. And something's got to happen there. Now, I know some people may think, oh, well, that's the way that Adam Pearce gets back into the ring. I don't know if we go that far necessarily. Yeah. As you see my nephew walk past me. I don't think we go that far necessarily, but I'm thinking more we go maybe Survivor Series style at Mania. We get Pearce to get maybe his trusted 3, his trusted 4 superstars that he handpicks to go against Division, because I really don't see Logan Paul or Theory or Breaker really being in a big one-on-one match going into Mania, at least not right now.
Yeah.
So I can see them going in as a team, going into maybe, like I said, old school traditional Survivor Series elimination style, or captain fall or something like that, or just
Okay.
just a straight up multi-man tag match going into Mania, going against Pierce's selected 3 or 4 or however many, going against Paul Heyman's Vision. And again, I don't know, maybe there's some kind of stipulation on the line. Hey, if the Vision wins, Pierce is out as Raw general manager, or something like that. Something's got to give, because there's like a balance, it's like a power balance where the Vision, they just want anarchy, they just want to run roughshod over Monday Night Raw, and Pierce wants that balance. He wants basically them gone from Monday Night Raw. So something like that. That's what I'm looking at right now, going into Mania. So yeah,
that's not a bad idea. I actually like that idea. I do. And have something on the line. Adam Pearce, either Adam Pearce is done as general manager, or the Vision has to go to SmackDown. Like, they have to be exclusive to SmackDown. Something like that. You know who I think should be the head of Adam Pearce's team?
Who?
You're probably going to disagree with me on this, and I know a lot of people might disagree with me on this, but you know who I think? Powerhouse Hobbs. Highlight him. Get him in that spotlight. I mean, can you imagine him and Braun Breaker face to face? Those two massive entities.
Jesus Christ, that'd be awesome. That would be awesome.
Or Bronson Reed and Powerhouse Hobbs, or what's his name now? Royce
Keys.
Royce Keys. Yeah, like, come on, man. I mean, he made an impact at the Rumble. The way he came out, like, and I liked how they acknowledged him as Powerhouse Hobbs before they changed the name.
Yeah,
I love how they did that.
Yeah.
Like, and if you go online, there is a video out there of Triple H going back and talking to him before the Royal Rumble event, and him saying, like, hey, you're here for a reason. Now go make an impact. And he did a pretty good job in that Rumble match.
Yeah.
Did not do bad. So why not? He can, a WrestleMania match, multi-man match. He'll get his feet wet at a big event like WrestleMania. You don't have to throw him in there, in a one-on-one match that means nothing. Like, you can have him, Penta, Dragon Lee, and somebody else. Ray Phoenix.
There you go.
And you're basically doing team WWE against team AEW in a sense.
Basically.
I mean, Dragon Lee wasn't in AEW.
Dragon Lee, he came from I know he did some stuff in the independents. I think he did I think he really made his name in New Japan too, I believe.
Okay. Well, there's connection between New Japan and AEW anyways. So there you go. And it could be like a middle of the card type of match to kind of like after a big match that everybody's kind of into, that it can be like that cool down match.
Open even. I mean,
night 2 opener.
I mean, depending on who you put in on the other side for Pierce's team. I mean, you got some fan favorites in there. Yeah, might as well.
I would want to see Powerhouse Hobbs on that Pierce team. I would.
I could see it.
I would. So we'll have to see what happens. Next week with the Vision and Adam Pearce. I'm sure this is obviously not the end, and it will continue. Bella Twins showed up. They want to go after the tag belts.
Jesus Christ.
I'm going to say this. John texted me on Saturday and he said, good for Brie. And I said to him, I think these spots could have been, I think these 2 spots. I mean, I'm happy for Brie. She got her moment, but Nikki, I'm not a Nikki fan. Never was. I feel like her spot could have been used up by somebody else more, to the point of meaningfulness. But anyways, they come out to pretty much silence, which was really not a good thing for Hall of Famers to come out to. Not good. Not good at all. And even during their promo, tried, amping the crowd up. Couldn't do it. It was like 3 people in that arena were happy to see them. And they said they want to go after the women's tag team belts. Cam, I mean, what are your thoughts on the Bella Twins going after the women's tag team championships?
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. First of all, something that they said on commentary. I believe Cole said this. Either Cole or Corey Graves. I can't remember which. Said oh well, the tag team division is stacked, and I'm like, no, it's not. You don't have a tag team division. How many times do I have to say this? You don't have a division. You have a bunch of singles wrestlers put together, and you call them a tag team. You don't have they are the only tag team that, well, number one, I think they're the only tag team that you have in this division that, or number one, are related. That's the first thing. And two, have been tagging since this tag team division wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
They have been together since before the tag team titles were even a thought.
Yeah.
In creatives' minds. That's how long they've been tagging together. Okay. The tag team division is not stacked. Okay. No. Let's not fool ourselves into thinking that it's stacked, because it's not. You now, do you have some good tag teams in there? Yes, but that does not mean they're stacked. You have all of about like 4 teams in this entire division, and you just keep putting together, you keep stitching together singles women, and putting them in tag teams to fill out the gaps in this tag team division. I'm sorry, I had to point that out, because I was furious hearing that, because that was so stupid.
That 4 months later they turn on each other anyways.
Right. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte are probably on a shelf life after what happened at the Rumble.
Yeah,
that's probably done, honestly, because they're not getting another shot at the tag titles. I don't think so.
No, I mean, go ahead. No, go ahead.
My fear is that this is going to be the WrestleMania big match for the women's tag team titles, and it shouldn't be. My suggestion, because I was thinking about this way before we got the Bella Twins tonight, was you do a multi-person match, because and it makes sense, right? Especially what happened at the whole intermediate segment they had. I think this was at the Rumble, when they had the women's tag team champions, the current women's tag team champions, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, and they were in there with who were they? They were talking to Julia and whatever her name is. I can't. What is her name? It starts with a K. I can't remember her name. Anyway, her, and then of course Nia Jax and Lash Legend. So you had these tag teams, quote unquote. Well, 2 tag teams and one. I don't know what they are necessarily. Julia's still the women's United States champion, and essentially she's just her manager, but whatever. Regardless, you had all these teams in that segment. So that's where, I'm thinking like, okay, you're going to probably have some multi-person tag match for the women's tag team titles, probably going into WrestleMania. With this segment, I think all of that just went out the door. Now you could still go that route, but I think for whatever reason they're hell bent on highlighting the Bella Twins, who don't need to be highlighted.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't like anything about this personally, but
I mean, when you look at the women's tag team division, the Bellas might be the legit tag team again, because they're related, they're sisters, whatever. I mean, would it be fair to say maybe the Kabuki Warriors might be, because they've been together for so long, and Kairi Sane and Asuka, because this is basically their second run, because Kairi, their first time she was there, it was Asuka and Kairi, and then Kairi left and she came back and she's back with Asuka. So maybe they're legit in a sense, but you're not wrong. They just keep piecing together these teams that 4 or 5 months down the road, they end up splitting on each other anyways, because somebody does something to the other. Look at that. Perfect example, Judgment Day. Perfect example, Judgment Day. Look where we're at now. They built themselves up, and it's like, Liv and Raquel. Liv gets injured. Raquel goes with Roxanne. Now it's like, we're going to be buddy when Liv comes back. Yeah, 3 months later.
You released probably one of your biggest legitimate tag teams who had been tagging since they were down at NXT, and that was Katana Chance and Kaden Carter.
Yeah. Yep.
And that was the biggest mistake they could have ever done to this women's tag team division, in my personal opinion. It ruined their legitimacy.
I gotta agree with you, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of them. I have to agree with you on that. I do. The thing is, when the women's tag team titles were created back in 2018, 2019, it was such a big deal. And they were starting to get women, even though, you had to take two singles competitors and throw them together and try and make tag teams. They were coming out looking like tag teams. Now, some of these women that are in teams, they don't even come out looking like a team. wearing completely different gear, all that stuff. It's like the effort turned into effortlessness. So I don't know. I mean, good on the Bellas for coming back and wanting to. I mean, I feel like we're talking about this longer than we needed to, but
yeah,
good on them for coming back and going after tag belts. I really hope WWE has a I hope they have a plan for this. They put the belts on them because it is they're in such a, even with Rhea and Io holding the belts right now. As cool as that is, it's still the point of like, that those two at some point are going to run into an issue with each other because they have their long-lasting rivalry.
Yep.
And something's going to split them up because of so.
Yep.
That's,
happen.
It's bound to. It's bound to. They need to. I think what they should do is go down to NXT and start looking at the roster they have down there and saying, okay, we got to create a women's tag team division. What can we do? And start from there. Like take 10 women and create 5 teams and start building a little division. Like,
it's funny you say that. I laugh because they had that. Again, another one of their big missteps with this tag team division is they merged the titles back when Ronda was there. You took away the women's NXT tag team titles for what exactly? Ronda nor Shayna are even there anymore.
I think in hindsight back then, when you go and look at it, it was a good idea, but now it's just not. Because when's the last time the women's tag belts were even defended on NXT?
Probably since the merger. And that was a while ago.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, speaking of tag belts, Otis and Tozawa, they're going to challenge for the men's tag belts next week against the Usos.
It's about time. Where have they been at, dog? Just sitting there playing Jenga backstage. Where are they at on the show?
Yeah. I mean, you got these two challenging for the tag belts while Maxine is trying to deal with her natty stuff, and they're hanging out with Burt Kreischer. Meanwhile, an actual tag team like the War Raiders getting beat up by Obafemi. Oh, go ahead. Thoughts on that one, Cam? Go ahead.
Boy.
Thoughts on that one?
They told you exactly what they think of the War Raiders with this. Exactly. Like, I can't. You want to make them this big guy. They got the burly beards. They got the look. They got the tattoos. They come out. They're badass War Raiders or whatever. You stripped all that away by having them get dismantled. I've never seen the War Raiders manhandled like this ever.
No.
Ever. And it wasn't even an official match. It's mind-boggling how they did them tonight.
Obafemi wasn't even in the match.
Crazy.
It was supposed to be the War Raiders against somebody else, and Obafemi just showed up. And I found it funny on what Michael Cole said. He said the reason why the War Raiders attacked Obafemi is because they didn't like the look in his eyes. Go back and watch that segment. I promise you are going to laugh so hard when you hear that. Michael Cole said the War Raiders went to attack Obafemi because they didn't like the look in his eye. That was the exact reason why the War Raiders attacked Obafemi and didn't succeed. Go back and watch that segment. That's exactly the reason why. I even put it in my notes. I was like, what? Because the look in his eyes? Like, then that should be everybody, shouldn't it? Like,
good grief.
That's like me saying, like, walking up to a random person, I don't like the look in your eye. So,
I mean, dude, I can't take anything away from Oba. I mean, I love the way
you can't.
I love the way they built up Oba for the Rumble. Love that.
Yeah,
they're on the right track with him. I mean, heck, again, kudos to him. He picked up freaking Ivar with one arm and slammed him. That's never happened to him with anyone else. So good on him. They still made him look strong. If that's what they wanted to accomplish, great, you accomplished it. But I feel so bad for the War Raiders. They have fallen from grace, and I don't see how you come back. How
they can
bye, have fun on SmackDown.
Yeah, like those that team now. That team. I think they need to like send them back down to NXT and reinvent them or something, because I mean, you made them look worse than their first names when they first came up on the main roster in the Viking experience.
Jesus,
so
mercy.
like it was, but yeah, no, I mean, kudos to Obafemi though. He looked hella strong tonight.
Yeah,
he did. I mean,
the beast.
And you're right. They pretty much told us what they think of the War Raiders. Because you can't have them come out and get their ass kicked by Obafemi one week and then next week the War Raiders for the tag team championships against
That ain't gonna make sense.
No, you can't do that. You like if that would have actually happened opposed to Otis and Tozawa challenging, then I would be like, you are fucking out of your mind after what you just did to this team. Like if Obafemi came out and destroyed them, then you better have the Usos come and super kick their fucking heads off next week. 1D their asses and be out in 2 minutes. Just saying.
Might as well.
Like, they really just, yeah. Javon Evans, though, speaking of guys up and coming, Javon Evans had a match against El Grande Americano. The original El Grande Americano, Chad Gable, came out and kind of helped Javon a little bit by distracting the imposter El Grande and helping Javon get the win. But hey, I mean, Javon Evans getting a big win on Monday Night Raw. Regardless, it's a win. And it's huge for this kid. I'm not a big fan of Javon Evans. I'm not. But to see the younger guys that are coming up to the main roster having even just a little bit of success to start off in is a good sign. You know, and I know you don't like the term of what's the term that you don't like? We were just talking about this. The future. What's that term?
Oh yeah, like? Where it's like they keep calling them the future this, the future that.
Yeah. I mean, Javon Evans is there now. Is he going to be a part of the future? That's yet to be seen. Yeah, he can have good showings now. Yeah. It's all about what they are going to do with him. Yeah. Tonight was a good showing. Yeah. So it kind of gives that fresh breath of relief. Like, okay, like me and Cam, we've talked about this dozens of times. Like, yeah, they got their heels set up for the next maybe 2, 3, 4 years. What about your baby faces? And if you have plans for Javon Evans to be a big part of that babyface crowd, then you got to highlight him in the most unique way. And tonight was not a bad start, but your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's currently in the same position that Penta was in. This is just a starter. This is just a starting point for him with the whole El Grande stuff. I don't expect this to last very long. It can't last very long because no one's gonna really have interest in it. You know, they could go from this. They can transition from this to, I don't know, him and Penta or something. You know, or him and Rusev. The problem right now with Javon, and I'm a fan of Javon Evans. I think he is impressed since his essential first time on Monday Night Raw.
Mm-hmm.
The problem I have is I think his ceiling is very low because they're putting him in these kinds of matches, which tells me that they probably are going to do more with him on these one-off special events with like AAA.
Okay.
So initially, because I have heard this a lot too, just in past years or whatever, where people say that with guys like this or with guys like Penta, they should bring back the Cruiserweight Championship. They already have they essentially have already brought back the Cruiserweight division without calling it the Cruiserweight division.
Yeah.
Because they're going to put guys like him, guys like Penta, guys like Dragon Lee against people like Mr. Iguana and El Grande. That's what they think of them. They're going to put them, they're going to stick them, they're going to put them in a box and put them in these kinds of matches. And I think that's creating a very short path or just a very low, it's creating a very low ceiling for them. There's nowhere to move outside of that, so he's going to have to work twice as hard as probably any newcomer coming up from NXT or Evolve or whatever, or coming over from AEW to stand out. And I think on that mic is where he stands out more so than when than he does in the ring.
And that's the thing is I had said this, my cousin, who is a big wrestling fan. On Saturday we were talking a little bit during the Rumble, and he was super excited to see Javon Evans, and I'm like, it's cool, he's in the Rumble, cool. Like, I'm not a fan of him. And he's like, how can you not be a fan of him? And I was like, because everything that he does in the ring, we've been seeing it for the past 10 years. Like, he is, and this is no slight on Javon when I say this, but he reminds me of a younger version of Kofi Kingston. He does. Because Kofi was doing all the high fly stuff that Javon is doing today. Javon may be doing it slightly better because, the evolvement of wrestling, and we're seeing some moves that we've never seen before. We're seeing some innovative stuff. So Javon might have a slightly upper hand on a younger Kofi Kingston, like younger version of Kofi Kingston. But you're not wrong. I think he's got to do something that's going to make him stand out. And when you look at what he does in the ring, it's like, okay, we're seeing this from 100 other superstars all over the world. The microphone might be the place. No. It's got to be the place that he has to stand out on, because what he's doing in the ring is what we're seeing from 10 other superstars on the show. So that microphone is where he's going to really have to. And I'll say this, he has not really impressed me too much on the microphone, as much the stuff that I heard from him. Because you know me, I don't watch NXT. I don't. So I didn't see everything that Javon Evans has done. I've seen internet clips. And some of his mic work, just not a fan of it. I'm not. Like, I get it. You're trying to give these superstars a little more freedom to talk, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, make sure to get with them that they're going to make sense to what they're going to go talk about. Because sometimes that freedom, some of it just does not make sense to what they're trying to build. So that's going to be another thing is if he's going to stick to how he is on the microphone normally, then make sure that he is going to talk about something that is going to make sense of the situation that he is put in once he starts getting into storylines. If everything that just makes sense that I just said, because you don't want to get him in the middle of a promo to where he's just off, just saying whatever just to get the crowd popping. Like, you can get a crowd popping with anything, with words. But at the end of the day, try and make it make sense to what your storyline is. Because there's one person, perfect example, Lyra Valkyria. That we talked about this in the past with her. There have been many things that she said on the microphone that were not accurate to history. Yeah. And it's like, this ain't making sense now. So why don't we check on this stuff before we start sending them out there? Don't necessarily tell them what to say if you're giving them freedom, but make sure they're making sense to what they're going out to talk about. Because they don't, you're going to have dozens of fans shitting on them. And if Javon Evans is a part of what you're trying to build for the next 5-10 years, then you want to make sure he's on the right track. So, good showing by Javon Evans tonight. Last thing, AJ Styles. Obviously, we know his retirement happened on Saturday. We'll talk about that in a minute because we will talk about the Royal Rumble. But Gunther came out to AJ Styles' music, kind of taunting the fact that he has now retired AJ Styles. Retired Goldberg back in the summer, retired John Cena back in December, and now the phenomenal AJ Styles on Saturday. He was talking pretty much about that history, and then Dragon Lee came out and attacked him, and that didn't go too well for Dragon Lee either, as Dragon Lee, his lights got turned out by a chokehold by Gunther. Cam, I'm going to say this. I talked about this months ago when AJ and Dragon Lee got together, that it looked like they were sending Dragon Lee in the direction of starting to give him a little bit of a boost. Do you think that this whole thing with Gunther delays that, or do you think this is still a continuing factor of that possible boost that Dragon Lee might be getting?
Oh no, that was definitely my biggest question, I guess, after they lost the World Tag Team Championships to the Usos, and then like I said, now that AJ Styles is officially retired, I was wondering, like, is Dragon Lee just going to just go back into the shadows and just be forgotten about?
So this is a great spot for him to be in, I think. With someone who is red hot right now, one of their biggest heels probably on Monday Night Raw in Gunther. This is great. This is a great spot for him. It's going to highlight him in general. Even if he does end up getting some, one-off victory roll up over Gunther, that's just going to put him over even more. So I like where they're at with it right now for sure. Also, like I said, Gunther is doing some masterful work right now. I mean, coming out to AJ Styles' theme song and doing his whole taunt and everything, and then they just transition to his theme song or whatever. It's great. They're making him literally the most hated Raw superstar right now. So it's good stuff in general.
Yeah, I kind of like what they do with Dragon Lee and Gunther tonight. I do. Because they're putting Gunther on that path of being that heinous heel that just does not give a shit. He's going out there to take care of business. A couple months ago when we got Pat McAfee against Gunther, I was like, why are they doing this to Gunther? Why are they putting him in this position to have this off match against Pat McAfee? But then I got it. I understood. And now I fully understand why they put Gunther in these off-center matches. I said this to somebody the other day. I said, I feel like they put the world title on Gunther way too soon. They did. They pushed that, further than anything. And now, yeah, he's a two-time world champion. But you ever notice that any time he lost the world title, they didn't know what the hell to do with him afterwards. Now, the first time they did it, they did this whole Pat McAfee thing, and then they put him on the path of going after the world title again. It seems like this second time around, they're kind of putting him on a pretty decent path. He retires, Goldberg. He retires John Cena. Now he retires AJ Styles. Now he's going to possibly get into a program with Dragon Lee, and this also helps Dragon Lee and keeps Dragon Lee going. Because I became a huge fan of Dragon Lee. I was really excited to see what they were going to do with him next. And now it's like, hopefully this is a good sign. So we'll have to see what happens with this. I'm sure we'll find out more next week on Monday Night Raw. And that's Monday Night Raw from Philly on February 2nd, 2026. Cam, Superstar of the Night, who are you picking?
Ooh, I am going to go with one Mr. CM Punk, the best in the world. Again, I think this was the closest we're going to get to a unfiltered, the real CM Punk. Again, like I said, you compare his promos even a year, 2, 3 years ago, whatever it was in AEW compared to now, it's not the same. But obviously, like I said, there was a deal struck once he signed on the dotted line to come back to the WWE that he was going to pump the brakes on what he can do and say on that mic. So this was the closest I think you're going to get to a CM Punk, a real CM Punk, and I think he's going to bring the best out of Roman Reigns going into WrestleMania. So I loved every single second of that segment, and I think it single-handedly saved Monday Night Raw tonight. So definitely CM Punk.
My Superstar of the Night, he's normally known for his words. Now, he's known for his action, but he's really known for his words and speaking on the microphone. Tonight, he didn't have to do any of that. All his stuff was action, and he single-handedly took care of the Vision, and that's LA Knight. He made an impact without saying 2 fucking words tonight, and I am really curious to see what they do moving forward with LA Knight and the Vision. So LA Knight's mine tonight. I think he made a pretty decent impact tonight. So Cam, Saturday night out in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, was the Royal Rumble. Now, normally after events, we tend to do special shows after events and talking about the event. Let's talk about it tonight. I know it's been a couple days. We just had Monday Night Raw happen and everything like that. So obviously tonight was the fallout. But let's talk some Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble lineup, it started off with the Women's Royal Rumble. As we know, Liv Morgan, she won the Women's Royal Rumble. She entered at number 14, ended up winning the Women's Royal Rumble. And then we had AJ Styles get defeated by Gunther if AJ lost, he'd have to retire. Gunther ends up choking him out, and Gunther walks out the winner. And Drew McIntyre successfully defended the WWE Undisputed Heavyweight Championship against Sami Zayn. And then Roman Reigns entered the Royal Rumble at number 26, winning the Men's Royal Rumble. Cam, number 1, the Women's Royal Rumble. Now, I kept track. You know me, I'm a statistics guy. You know me, I love to keep statistics on things. So obviously, I sat there and I kept statistics on everybody's entrance, when people got eliminated, who they got eliminated by too. Tonight, they made a claim that Lash Legend had the most eliminations in a Rumble match in history. I believe they said that during one of the replays. Okay. But that's not true if that's what they put up, because Nia Jax had 9 eliminations in the Royal Rumble last year. So Nia Jax would be first. But anyways, Lash Legend, she had 5 eliminations. And then you had Jordan Grace, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, who all had 3 eliminations. Raquel Rodriguez had 2, with Charlotte Flair as well having 2. And then these are all the women that had 1 elimination. Becky Lynch, Natalia, Julia, Lyra Valkyria, Kairi Sane, Io Sky, Nikki Bella, Brie Bella, JC Jane, Sol Ruka, and Tiffany Stratton. Pretty much half the field had eliminations. Okay. Cam, let's start off talking about the Women's Royal Rumble. What were your thoughts on the Women's Royal Rumble? And ultimately, again, I know you spoke about how you felt about Liv Morgan winning the Women's Royal Rumble, but how did you feel on Saturday when she first did it?
Like I said, I pretty much called it before the start of this match, that Liv Morgan was going to win the Women's Rumble. So no, not really much of a shock there. I mean, it was probably time for her to win it. I think they said this was like her 9th Rumble, and she hasn't won one of them, so that's insane to me.
She was runner up, I think, like 2 or 3 times already.
Yeah, so that's wild. That's dang near Kofi Kingston numbers right there. But yeah, no, I mean, they said, kudos to her. I think it was probably time for her to win at least one. For me, it's just I don't like the direction it's going. Because again, with me, I make the same gripe with Rumbles every single year. The Rumble used to be whoever wins, they're going in a direction where it's like they're listening to the fans. They're putting that spotlight on the biggest star right now, and then years after it was more, now they're highlighting somebody new and going with that direction. And in the last couple of years, they just haven't done that. To me, the last real Rumble that they did that to someone who I really think really deserved it was Drew McIntyre, and he won in dramatic fashion. I mean, eliminating Brock, who was dominating most of that field in that match. That was a really good Rumble. Yeah. And so that Rumble to me was the last real Rumble that I actually really felt something. This Rumble was not terrible, I think. But overall, again, I think just really safe with both Rumble winners. I do believe. Overall, though, it was I think entertaining. I think like move by move definitely had highlighted some women in there for sure. Again, kudos to them for having to wrestle in full long pants, long sleeves in the Arabian heat. That probably sucked. That's probably why this was first. In this match, in general, this match went 1 hour and 7 minutes. That's torturous. So my heart goes out to all of them involved in this match. For however, whether they were in there for 5 minutes, to 35 minutes, to 40, 55 minutes, whatever.
Charlotte was like 47 minutes, I think, something like that.
And I feel just horrible for her. So in general, they're all just warriors, just going out there and enduring this grueling match. Loved how they highlighted Sol Ruka. Sol Ruka, I think, is a future in general. And again, I know I as much as I don't like saying that, I mean, but right now she's not currently on the main roster, so she is, the future of the main roster, I do believe. So love her. She's got probably the best finisher, I think, in the game. The finisher was just awesome looking. Loved that. And like I said, she made it to the final 3. So that was also a big moment for her. And they think very highly of her to be giving her such a spot like that. So I like the way it ended too. I mean, Liv's move, the Oblivion, on pretty much the outside of the ring onto the ring apron for that last elimination was very cool looking as well. Overall, I don't mind her winning. I just feel like, again, it's very safe, and I think it's just kind of going back down the same path we've already been down with Liv winning the championship again at Mania, which I do think is happening. Unless they add in another element that's like, okay, this is kind of interesting. They add another wrinkle into the story. I don't know. But right now, kudos to Liv Morgan for winning her first women's Royal Rumble overall. Right now, I don't know how to feel about it. I'm going to let it play out for a couple of weeks and see how I feel about it. And see, the story they build up going into Mania.
I get what you're saying about the Rumble matches. You go back to 2020, and yeah, that Royal Rumble, the men's in particular, was amazing. Brock Lesnar, 13 eliminations. Drew McIntyre comes out, eliminates him. Then he eliminates Roman Reigns at the end. You get the return of Adam Copeland. A lot of exciting things happened in the 2020 men's Royal Rumble. I think that was the point where they started doing what they do in Royal Rumble matches today. Back then, and I think this is what you're talking about. If I'm wrong, let me know. In past Royal Rumbles, they didn't worry about people having storylines. They didn't worry about building stories while being in the Royal Rumble. It was, these two have heat. We'll get back to that later, but right now, it's any man for themselves in the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble. The only thing you worried about was surprise entrances and if Hall of Famers were going to come in, all that stuff. The fun stuff. That was the fun stuff. And it still is. Surprise entries and, Hall of Famers coming back to get into the Rumble, all that stuff. But now it seems like they play more into, adding storylines that are happening on regular TV into the Royal Rumble match. And you see it. You've seen it more in the women's Rumble this year than you did in the men's. Like, you've seen it in the men's Rumble match, but not as much as you've seen it in the women's. And yeah, hats off to Sol Ruka. She did amazing. She had an amazing, amazing Rumble. She has to be the star of the Rumble. So, and Liv Morgan, I'm happy she won. I'm a fan of Liv Morgan. One last thing, I came across a video. A couple of the women that were backstage, they made a video. Now, you heard as we got into the Royal Rumble, you heard all the jokes about, the women are going to look like Power Rangers, the Power Ranger suits and everything like that. A couple of the women backstage made a video of them doing a Power Rangers thing. I came across it today. It was funny.
I saw that, and I thought that was hilarious because I had said that before. I had told you that before then, and I was like, I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was like Jordan Grace, Alba Fire, Chelsea Green was in there. Like, it was great. Yeah, it was great. I came across that video today. I was like, this is freaking awesome that they're playing into this. So, hats off to the women. Hats off to Liv Morgan, Sol Ruka, the MVP, like Will said in the chat, MVP of the Royal Rumble match. And let's see what happens with Liv Morgan. I'm like you said, I'm curious. I'm gonna sit back and see what happens with it. Curiosity is going to be there. So Gunther defeated AJ Styles, retiring AJ Styles. AJ Styles did something at the end of that match, though, that we normally see if somebody retires, leave their boots or leave a piece of their attire in the middle of the ring. And AJ looked like he was going to leave the gloves, but then he put the gloves back on. Now, some fans think that AJ is now going to go to TNA and do something. Me personally, Cam, I don't think so. I think AJ Styles is done. He has said in multiple interviews that he does not want to wrestle past the age of 50. He is 48. He turns 49 soon. Do you think, number one, if you have any thoughts on Gunther and AJ, but number two, do you think this is the end of the road for AJ Styles?
Yeah, I think this is the end of the road for AJ Styles personally. He wanted to be done, so he didn't waste any time. So I mean, we're literally the second month into 2026, so he's not waiting till Mania or he's not waiting till SummerSlam or anything like that. He's not prolonging this. This is not a AJ Styles retirement tour. Obviously, I don't think he wanted to do that. That's not the way he wanted to go out. So kudos to him if this is what he actually wanted, and if he just wanted to be done, then I mean, hey, he had a hell of a career. He has nothing to be ashamed of. I'm definitely not. I guess I'm a little bit disappointed just because I wanted this to be a different stage than at this Rumble in Saudi. But overall, like I look back and just my childhood growing up watching him in TNA, six-sided ring, all these classic matches that he's had, him putting his body through hell, year after year after year. He's given us some classics. He definitely has been good to us, and he definitely has been good to overall the sport of professional wrestling. So I definitely think this is the end of the road for him. It's always the symbolic, leaving your boots in the ring, Taker with the hat and the gloves and the coat, Cena with the shoes and the armbands. And he didn't do that. He put him back on. So maybe that's just his way of going out. He didn't want to do that. Maybe there was just something in him that he couldn't do it. He couldn't bring himself to doing it. But I like it. It's the way he's going out. He's always been somebody that's been unique. That's always kind of just stood out year after year, just in the ring, and just a part of any roster that he's been on. So that again, once again, that makes him unique because he didn't do that. So could it mean something? Maybe. I mean, I know people are definitely going to tune in heavily now to Thursday for TNA on AMC to figure out whether or not he shows up or not. I don't think he does. I mean, he could be backstage shaking hands and hugging people. I'm sure that he's known there since, his time there or when he was there recently last year. But no, I don't think he shows up necessarily. I think I can't remember who it was. But somebody from AEW who's currently in AEW said, fingers crossed. I hope he comes to AEW. I don't think that happens either. It makes sense. I get it because there are a lot of his former Bullet Club members in New Japan are there. Yeah. But I don't see him dragging this out. I definitely think this is him literally closing the book on one hell of a career. So,
I mean, could I see a possible TNA run? I could, but I mean, when you look at the talent that's at TNA right now, they have a hell of a roster. They do, and they have some opponents that you could dream of seeing him in the ring with. Yep. I mean, I believe he's been in the ring with Nick Nemeth already in WWE when he was Dolph Ziggler, but just to see them in the TNA ring now would probably be a good matchup to see, especially at the stage that Nick Nemeth is at in his career.
Yeah.
Frankie Kazarian, of course, he's in TNA. They can have one, or at least try and have one last memorable match. I don't want to say they could because you can't predict how a match is going to go. So they can try and have a memorable match. I mean, he could go there and have some good stories and build with some of the guys over at TNA. But me personally, I think this is it for him. I think it is. Part of me feels like this is it for him as well, because you look at the path he took, like you said, your childhood, growing up watching him in TNA. I mean, the way he started his career, declining the first contract ever from WWE, went to WCW for a short period of time. I came across a video the other day. It was a WCW clip. DDP was doing a signing, and AJ Styles was acting like a fan in line, and he was going nuts and everything. I laughed my ass off. But then him going to TNA and pretty much help build what TNA is today in a sense.
Yeah.
And then him, walking away with the TNA world title, going to New Japan, coming to WWE, like he's had one hell of a career. And if this is it, I'm happy as a fan. I am. I'm happy. I don't think anything he would do from here on out is just a bonus of an add-on, but I'm happy as a fan. I was happy to be able to follow his career, and I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. And a lot of people are saying TNA did him dirty because they posted like his career legacy video like a minute after he lost the match. I think it was just timing. I don't think they did that on purpose.
No,
I think it was just a timing thing. I don't think they did anything in spite. So, people just want to ruffle things up on the internet. So, Drew McIntyre retained the WWE Undisputed Championship against Sami Zayn. A lot of people were thinking Sami Zayn's going to finally do it and win the world title. Cam, I mean, if you have any thoughts on this match for one, but do you ever think they're ever going to pull that trigger and give Sami Zayn this championship? Because fuck, man, they keep putting him in this position of so close, and he just can't get it done.
No, at this rate, I don't think it's ever going to happen. This was the strongest indication of them ever putting the championship on Sami Zayn. Again, he is, I don't know, the freaking Saudi superhero. Every time he goes over there, he gets a massive reaction. On SmackDown, they were over there too, and he's literally speaking like fluent Arabic to the audience, which is insane to me. So again, he's, like I said, dude's a Swiss Army knife. He's multi-talented. He really is. He really is. But in this current version of Sami Zayn, and where he's at in just the current position he's in WWE in his career, I don't see it. I really don't. They'd have to build something up. I don't know. I just don't know. They'd have to build something up to where it's like Grammy award winning storytelling for Sammy for me to really get behind it. And because number one, I don't even think I'm really behind it or a fan of it necessarily, because I just don't think it has a long lifespan if you were to win the championship. But number two, like I said, they'd have to build something up to where I'm like, okay, realistically, I could see them actually finally pulling the trigger and putting the championship on Sami Zayn. This match was so lopsided. Most of this match just saw him just getting destroyed. Like he owed Drew McIntyre money. Like it was bad. Yeah. It was horrendous for Sami Zayn. So not one point in this match. I made a video about this. Not one point in this match that I think that Sami Zayn had the upper hand where he was going to win the championship. Even in a false finish, he hits the haluva kick. Drew's too close to the ropes, gets his foot on the rope. Sami thinks he's won the title. None of that. It was never one point in this match where he got that upper hand to where I thought, oh my God, they're actually going to put the title on Sami Zayn. Nope. Drew was just in control of this entire match. And they just made him look like he's just unstoppable. So who knows? I could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe next year, maybe 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I know 6, 7, 8, 9 months from now or whatever. They make me a believer and actually put something together to where I say, okay, I think it's time for them to put a championship on Sami Zayn. So, but I think they went with the right decision here. Like I said, Drew is owed. He's been chasing the championship for too long. Drew is owed, a short reign. He ain't got to go the entirety of 2026, but no, a short reign, I think he's owed for sure. So the next couple of defenses that Drew has, I think, should be successful, and really give him that run. He's chased the title, I think, longer than probably anybody else. I think Sammy's the only one probably chasing the title as long as him, probably longer at this point. So who knows? But I think they went with the right decision here in having Drew retain.
Part of me wants to say never, because look at Kofi Kingston. It took him 11 years. But look at the timing that Kofi had, and look at the time that, it originally was supposed to be Mustafa Ali in that position. And because he got injured, Kofi Mania was born, and that took us to WrestleMania against Bryan. Okay. But this is a totally different thing. I looked at Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn's match as, if they are going to do it, they got to do it now. And if they don't do it, then it's never going to happen. This was the perfect timing, perfect position to do it. And they didn't do it. Now that we got Punk and Roman, my first thought about Drew McIntyre defending his championship at WrestleMania was Cody. Especially with how their rivalry's been these past couple weeks, months.
Yeah.
Cody and Drew, night number 1 for that title, and Cody probably gets it back. That's just my thought. And if not, then they run it to SummerSlam. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see, number 1, what happens with Drew McIntyre moving forward, because now we got to figure out who he's going to face. I'm sure that'll be determined at Elimination Chamber. But as far as Sami Zayn, again, I think this was the event that they had to do it at. And if they didn't do it, then we're going to move forward from it. So that's that. Men's Royal Rumble won by Roman Reigns, coming out at number 26. Cam, here are the men who got eliminations. Obafemi had 5. He tied with Roman Reigns, the winner, with 5 eliminations. Next, the guys who had 3 eliminations, Bronson Reed and Brock Lesnar. The guys who had 2 eliminations, Cody and LA Knight both had 2.5, because they both eliminated Brock Lesnar together. So I count that as a half. That's how I do it. But 2.5 for those 2 guys. And then Gunther had 2. And then the guys that all had 1 elimination was Original Americano, Royce Keys, Randy Orton, and Jacob Fatu. Okay, so that's the guys that got eliminations in the Royal Rumble. As we know, Roman Reigns now going to take on CM Punk for the WWE, the World Heavyweight Championship. But what was your first thought when Roman won the Royal Rumble?
Like I said, again, I would say, another predictable winner. Again, I think they're going back to what I said earlier. They're tried and true. The guy that really gave them that blockbuster boost during the time at the height of the bloodline and all that. I don't necessarily think we're headed back for all that
so to speak. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, it would make sense too, because I mean, the Usos right now are the World Tag Team Champions. I don't know if they're going to be still the World Tag Team Champions when we get to Mania or coming out of Mania, but it would make a lot of sense having the core three back together and all holding titles once again. But yeah, again, just another very safe option here and not really pushing anyone new. And I know I see that a lot. A lot of people are saying that across the board when it comes to the IWC. Some people are loving it. Some people they've been calling Roman to win the Rumble for probably the last 2 or 3 years now. So I think for them, they're definitely celebrating because they finally, have got their uncrowned champion right now to finally win a Royal Rumble in his second in almost over 10 years now. So I don't mind it. Again, right now my biggest fear, because I definitely think he's beating CM Punk at Mania, is the whole part-time schedule. Because right now we are right as it stands right now when it comes to Raw or SmackDown, whether you watch both or you watch one or the other on Monday on Friday, we're spoiled right now because we get to see both champions pretty much on a regular basis. We haven't had one of those part-time champions where Brock wins or Roman wins, and then they win the championship, they're on one show, and then you don't see them for another 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, whatever. And they're not even on every pay-per-view. They're on SummerSlam. And the next time you see them, it's like November, and it's like, why have you been gone this entire time and you're just now getting your next title defense, and it's freaking Survivor Series? Like where have you been all summer? That's my fear, is like he's got to be around a little bit more. I'm not saying he's got to be around every Raw if that's not in the cards in his contract or whatever his situation is, but he's got to be around a little bit more, because I don't want to go back to the days of seeing him 1 week and then borderline forgetting who the world champion even is because he's not around. Like that doesn't fly with me. It just doesn't. So I'm really not excited about that. But right now, the current build, because they wasted no time setting this up for WrestleMania. I honestly appreciate that. Really, I can. Yeah. But right now, what they have set up with him and CM Punk, I'm liking it. I'm loving it right now. It's red hot right now. I'm very curious. I'm very tuned in and excited to see what they do building up to Mania. Because again, like I said, I think you're going to get Roman Reigns on his A game. You're going to get the best of Roman Reigns because of CM Punk, because of this particular position. Again, like I said, I'm not excited to see if he wins the title going back to a part-time champion. I'm not looking forward to that at all.
If Roman were to win at WrestleMania, and I thought about this on Saturday, I thought about this after he won the Rumble. I said to myself, if he were to challenge CM Punk for the world title, if that is our WrestleMania main event and Roman goes in and wins, is it going to be as big and as a historic run as he had the first time? I really quickly answered myself and I said, I don't think so. Because if you go back to when Roman first won the championship back in 2020, okay, he won it just out on the limb. He came back at SummerSlam a week later at, I think it was Backlash, won the title in a triple threat match, and then they were off to the races with Roman Reigns. And the historic run began. You go back to those times and where professional wrestling was with the pandemic, no crowds, anything like that, and what Roman built himself up to be, that was historic. Now you look at it, and if he wins this championship, number one, he's on his own. He doesn't have Paul Heyman. He doesn't have the Usos. He doesn't have Solo Sikoa. He doesn't have Sami Zayn. It's Roman Reigns on his own. So, and you got to think of it, the Usos and everybody who was in the bloodline played their significant parts. CM Punk was right in that moment, what he said tonight about that. So I don't think this run will be as historic or as long. I don't. And if this would have happened back about a year ago and he had a chance to win the championship, then I would say maybe because of where everybody was. But now it's just like, no. He'll have that championship probably 10 months max if they want to do a long run. Or try and have him break CM Punk's 434 days or however long that was. You know, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. That's a Royal Rumble though. Next event is, I believe, Elimination Chamber coming up. Cam, last thing on this day, man, February 2nd. Speaking of Philadelphia, man, they back in 1998, Monday Night Raw took place in was it 98? No, 2004. Sorry, I read this wrong. 2004, Monday Night Raw took place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania as well. It's funny. But going back to 2010, we had a historic moment. Vince McMahon, he appeared on an episode of WWE's ECW on Sci-Fi to announce that in 2 weeks' time, the brand would cease to exist. It would be replaced by a new reality competition format that would be called NXT. So we are 2 weeks away from the initial birth of NXT. It's crazy. 2000 what year did I say? 2010. So 10, 15, 16. NXT's been around for 16 years.
Yep.
Man,
Crazy.
how time flies, man.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I mean, Cam, I do have to ask you this. We know the history of the first run of ECW, Paul Heyman's ECW, Philadelphia's ECW. I'm not going to ask the question of whether the WWE version of ECW lived up to that potential because we know it didn't. But did it at least pique your interest as a fan back then when it was around?
You know what's funny is I remember the first episode when it came back. Now, again, I was curious because, again, like I said, I always have to point this out. You've been watching wrestling a lot longer than I have. So I never watched the original ECW. I wasn't even alive, I don't think, when the original ECW was around. So I was curious, so I was like, okay, so I just remember rushing to the TV and turning it on because I was curious. I was curious to see what they would produce with this revamped ECW or whatever. And yeah, I mean it had its moments, I think, early on. But I think it kind of lost its way when you had like Bobby Lashley winning the ECW championship or like
The
Big Show. I was like, okay, this is not what I thought. Then they changed the title and it's like, okay, ECW is pretty much on its last legs at this point. So, but it started off kind of cool. Honestly, it did. So, yeah.
When they changed the look of the championship, that's when I started feeling like it was starting to kind of go downhill a little bit. Because you're literally taking away the last piece of original ECW history because the ECW championship looked similar to the original WWE version of it, right? Yeah. It looks similar. But then you changed it to that big silver looking hunk of metal. And I'm like, man, like this is kind of going in a different direction now. And I would have to say this, the only person that I was really happy that held that championship was Mark Henry. Because he even talks about it to this day that he was proud to win that championship. And he's like the only person to really talk about it and say that.
Yeah.
And you go back and watch some Mark Henry ECW championship day. He had some really good matches defending that championship. So I would have to say that Mark Henry was my favorite champion during the WWE ECW days. So that's it for on this day, Cam. And that means that is it for us. Man, almost got a oh man. Right at the end of the show. It's been a while since we heard Almost talk.
Yeah. It definitely has been.
Oh, it's our time to get out of here. Cam, your socials are going to be on the bottom. Make sure you're heading over to Cam's Wrestling Corner and checking out all those videos over there. Cam is continuously posting content up there. Go check it out. I promise you, hit that follow button. Cam, what else do you got going on social media?
Well, like I said, yeah, you pretty much said it. And definitely keep it with me on Cam's Wrestling Corner over on TikTok. I post videos, do reviews. Trying to get some more reviews up there of TNA. I finally watched my first episode of TNA recently. So TNA, some more SmackDown. and of course Monday Night Raw, as well as predictions and post shows and things like that. So definitely keep with me on my TikTok or whatever. I'm most active probably on there. In terms of the networks, right here every single Monday night with me and Metalcore Mike talking about some Monday Night Raw on the Table Spot. Of course, with the addition of Phil Khan on Wednesday nights right here on the network on the Boom, talking about some AEW Dynamite after AEW Dynamite, and then of course on Sundays on the Huddle Hub podcast with me and Metalcore Mike Sunday mornings. Talking about some football. Like I said, this weekend is the big game, the Super Bowl between the Patriots and the Seahawks. Very excited for that. So stay tuned for all the content we've got coming this week. And we love and appreciate all you guys coming by and checking out the stream tonight.
So make sure you're going to support Cam on all social media platforms, especially Cam's Wrestling Corner. I'm not just saying that because this man is digitally sitting next to me. They are great videos. Go check them out right after we get off air here. And make sure you hit the follow button. That's the most important thing. Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, Metal Mike 714. That's where you can find me. I don't do anything on my social medias. I'll be honest about that right now. I do everything here. Table Spot Monday nights, Wednesday on the Boom with Cam and Phil after AEW, and over on the Huddle Hub Podcast, twitch.tv/the Huddle Hub Podcast, youtube.com/at the Huddle Hub Pod. You can also follow us on X at the Huddle Hub Pod, and you can follow us on where else are we on social media? X, YouTube, TikTok at the Huddle Hub Pod, where we have videos up almost daily. It's been a very weird schedule for us as of late because, we had the conference championship games 2 weeks ago. This past week and a half has been weird because nothing has really gone on. The Pro Bowl is tomorrow. It's on a Tuesday now. For what reason, we don't know.
I don't know.
But the Pro Bowl is tomorrow. Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though, is the NFL Honors Awards. 90% is the yes for TikTok right now as far as where we're going to be live for that, because we'll do a watch along. We'll talk about the Honors Awards as they're going on. So go over to the TikTok at the Huddle Pod, hit that follow button, and come join us for the Honors Awards as we do a watch along for those. And then Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, me and Cam will be live getting you guys ready for the big game between the Patriots and the Seahawks. So, yeah, hope to see you guys there. Be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. We'll see you guys Wednesday night for the Boom. Deuces.